For section 4.4, you're going to convert quadratics that are in vertex form to standard form. When you do this, all you're doing is you're going to use structure. So we're going to look for and make use of structure today. All you're going to do is you're going to use the original equation, the original vertex form, and we're just going to move our numbers around. We're going to go through the same steps. Because these are very structured equations, we can go through the exact same steps every time. And then we will end up with the same equation, but it will be written in standard form. So before we do this, let's just remember what these forms are. The vertex form is y equals a times the quantity x minus h squared plus k. And then the standard form of quadratics is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. So to convert these equations that are in vertex form to standard form, we have 3 steps we're going to go through. Step number 1 is to double distribute. If I look at the equation and I think through how am I going to multiply this out and simplify this, I need to follow order of operations. And order of operations tells me I need to do my parentheses first, but I cannot simplify inside the parentheses. So next I need to do the exponent. Now the exponent is telling me that this is x minus 3 quantity squared, which means I'm taking x minus 3 times itself. So x minus 3 times x minus 3. And then I still have the rest of the equation over here being a part of it. But this first step is to double distribute those binomials. So when I do that, it becomes x squared minus 3x plus 9. And then I still have y equals negative 2, and then that plus 7 at the end. And now inside this parentheses, I can simplify it one more step. And I can make it x squared minus 6x plus 9. And this is still y equals negative 2 times that plus 7. So that's all that I do on my first step. And that is the biggest step because I have those couple of, I need to multiply it out and then simplify it and everything. Step number 2 is to multiply or distribute a. So looking at what I have here, I have y equals negative 2 times the quantity x squared minus 6x plus 9 plus 7. Now all I have left is the parentheses that I cannot simplify any further, multiplication, and addition. So I'm going to distribute that multiplication. So I now get, that becomes negative 2x squared plus 12x, because I'm paying attention to my negatives, minus 18. And then I still have the y equals and that plus 7. And now, so that's all that I do on that step, is I just multiply. Now step number 3 is to combine like terms. And simplify. So all that I have to do on step 3 is to add these last 2 numbers here. I need to add that k value to my other number. So this is y equals negative 2x squared plus 12x, and then negative 18 plus 7 is negative 11, so that's minus 11. That is all we're doing because this final number, or this final equation now, is written in standard notation. So this is telling me that this and this are the same thing. They're just written differently. So let's just do some examples. I'll do one more example with you before I have you do some on your own. So this example, y equals 5 times the quantity, x plus 4 squared minus 12. My first step is to double distribute, so I'm going to write out my x plus 4 times x plus 4. When I double distribute, that's x squared plus 4x plus 4x plus 16. And I still have my other numbers that I cannot forget about. And then I need to simplify. So that becomes x squared plus 8x plus 16. And of course, I still have my other numbers. Now my next step is to multiply that a value. So once my computer catches up with me, I'm going to multiply that 5 through that whole parentheses. So I'm going to do 5 times x squared, which is 5x squared, 5 times 8x, which is 40x, and then 5 times 16, which is 80. And then I still have that y equals and that minus 12. And my last and final step is just to combine my last two numbers here. So I end up with y equals 5x squared plus 40x, and 80 minus 12 is 68. So that is my answer. That's standard form. Go ahead and pause this video now and work out the next equation, convert it to standard form, and then play the video. I'll talk through it, and you can check your thinking, and you can check and make sure that you are working these out correctly. All right, so this next one, y equals 1/2 times the quantity x minus 2 squared plus 9. I need to double distribute, so I'm going to write my multiplication out. X minus 2 times x minus 2 becomes x squared minus 2x plus 4. I have my other numbers still attached to this. And now I still need to simplify inside that parentheses a little bit. So inside the parentheses becomes x squared minus 4x plus 4. And I still have those other numbers outside of them. So now I need to distribute my a value. So I need to distribute that 1/2. So when I do that, I get 1/2 x squared minus 2x plus 2. And then I still have the y equals and that plus 9 at the end. And my final answer, once I combine my 2 and my 9, is y equals 1/2 x squared minus 2x plus 11. So that is my number, or my equation in Vertex, from Vertex to standard form. One more, once again, pause the video and work this out, and then play the video to check your understanding. First thing I'm going to do is double distribute. When I do that, I get x squared plus 1/2 x plus 1/2 x plus 1/4 I still have these other numbers being multiplied and subtracted. And now I need to simplify inside of the parentheses. So I have x squared, and then 1/2 x plus 1/2 x. I'm going to do 1/2 plus 1/2, which is just 1. So I can just write that as plus x. And then I have that plus 1/4. And of course I have these other numbers. Now my next step is to multiply through with that -8, with that a value. So I have -8x squared minus 8x minus 2. And then I still have that minus 11 on there. My last and final step is to combine that -2 and -11. So I have y equals -8x squared minus 8x minus 13. That is my equation in standard form. That is all that I need to do. If I am unsure on any of these and I want to check my work, I have a couple options. I could go ahead and graph these. I could even use like Desmos and graph them, and you should get the same graph. You can check the vertex for each of them, and you should get the same vertex or the axis of symmetry. You can check the intercepts on both of them. You'll get the same thing. Honestly, you could check any points. Since it's the exact same equation, no matter what number you substitute in for x on both the vertex and the standard form, you're going to get the same number for y. That is all for this section. Go ahead and work on your homework. And as always, if you have any questions or if you need any clarification, please come talk to me so that we get that taken care of.